Thank you so much for that amazing performance, Nakkia, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
I'm going to get us started with a fun question. I was wondering what it was like to meet Bob Marley's family and have them give you the permission to use his vocals.
And I want to first off start by saying thank you for having me here. And it was an honor to even be in her presence. I mean, I was shocked to even be on the same call as her, even be speaking to her personally. So to even be able to continue his legacy and to let the new kids know now who Bob Marley is, it was an honor.
I love that. I love that we're already talking about educating through music, ensuring that young children know about the activists and the advocates whose shoulders they stand on is exactly what we're doing at NBCDI. It's our 50th anniversary, and so we're all about paying homage right now. So I
Yes.
also want to know what inspired you to write the song. What inspired you to perform this song and have it be one of your first singles?
Um, It initially started off as a project. My partner and I, we started off as writers, and Haim Saban, the chairman of Saban Music Group, asked us to do an interpolation of Bob Marley, Get Up, Stand Up. And so we're like, my partner and I, Jinx, we're like, it's a lot going on in the world right now. And I just hear, like, he spoke nothing about anything bad. It was always about peace, love, and unity. So of course we had to say something and also bring it into now and make it more current. So we felt empowered. And honestly, it was a picture of Bob Marley sitting in front of the booth where I recorded before this even happened. And he's looking into the booth like this. And it's been sitting there for years. And so I feel like he was there with me, just, assisting us spill the words out because we didn't even have a pen or typing. We literally were just saying the words and okay, I'm gonna go in the booth and I'm gonna just go turn the mic on. So it literally was just like, he was speaking through me.
I love that. And it's so interesting how I know that Bob Marley has been a part of my soundtrack of my life
Right,
growing up. And so, and you having the same experience that it wasn't anything new for you to pull in the spirit of Bob Marley because he's been such a part of our community, especially if you're a person who's socially conscious.
right.
Um, So I also you are a testament, and your story is such a testament to this transformative power of music, which is what we're talking about in this week and how we ensure that young people get access to that power. And so I would love for you to speak to and our audience who's meeting you, some of them meeting you for the first time, how has music transformed your life and your story?
Music was honestly my getaway, my escape. I was um I was much of an introvert as a child and I really didn't speak a lot. So the way that I was able to express myself was to listen to music. And the music that I like to listen to would allow me to express those emotions. I was able to understand how to get through my emotions and to channel my emotions through the music. Whether it was listening to it, creating my own by either beating on a table or coming up with my own words and lyrics. So it literally shaped who I am today and allowed me to learn how to deal with life, deal with my emotions, and also transfer energy to other people that can be positive, that can uplift someone, that can make someone feel this way, because that's what it did for me.
I love that. It makes me think about, what it is to be an educator, and how much you as an educator, it's not just about learning your numbers and your letters and reading and writing, but it's also about how you connect with others. It's also about how you uplift others. It's also about collective learning. And
Right.
so, and that's absolutely a part of our message this week and what we know through research, but what we know very practically is that children need social emotional learning. They need to learn
Yes.
socially. They need to learn about their emotions. So I love that you're speaking to how music help you to think about and cope with and even manage positively your emotions.
Oh, yes. And as an educator, I was also able to witness a lot of it too. I dealt with a lot of children from the ages from kindergarten until 8th grade. So I seen what I taught the art. So I seen what music does and still can do for children, you know?
Do you have a story of a young child where you saw that transformation through music that you can share with
Oh,
us?
I have tons. I have
Hey.
one in particular. I have a student who was in 3rd grade, and he was in his regular academic class, and my program that I taught for, we took place of physical education. So they have performing arts. They did dancing, acting, and singing instead of like yard things or sports. So I had a student who he didn't behave well in class, but when he seen me, I was his superstar. He was his best behaved, on his best behavior. Even the parents would call me. Can you please talk to him? He's not doing his homework. So I told him, I made it a reward for him to be able to come to my class if he would, figure out what he had to do in the classroom. Find your way to make the classroom the best for you. If you don't talk to anybody for a second, figure out your work, follow the directions that the teacher gives you. And so I found ways to allow him to get a prize out of being in my class and get a prize out of coming to my class for your recess instead of going out to the yard with the kids. You can come here and spend some time with me during my break or my lunch. We can listen to music and we can dance. When I tell you he was an A student, he was one of my best performers. He did a turnaround and became more respectful at home to his parents. The parents would come to me and ask me, can I start an after school program? Because I want him to really be a part of you. And still to this day, he sends me pictures of him like in football now. He's doing basketball. Like he'll still hit me up and like, hey, Miss Nikki, this is what I'm doing now. Look what I'm doing now. So I feel very, very, good and prideful about being able to encourage and change and shift a child that was given no chance by anybody else, but showing them like, if you pay a little bit of attention and allow them to express themselves and get it out, look what you can do. Just allow them to talk, vent to you, turn on a song and let them dance and let it out, play with them a little bit. So I felt good. That's what made me love my job and love teaching. Like I got so much energy and so much positive love from the kids, and it's genuine because they're kids. They loved me like, can you be my mom? Can you be I want to come home and live with you. Like that made me feel good every day if I go to work.
I love it. This makes me think about, I taught in an after school program. It was called Digital Youth Network. I taught robotics, not, it was actually a lot of fun. Let me not knock it.
Yeah.
And then we also had, we had beats and we had just a lot of the arts as we're talking about pulling children in. And a lot of times when young people would be, because we were in middle school, when they would be more interested in those after school programs than traditional school, they got criticized for it. They got shamed for, you should be more interested in math than this. You should be more. And instead of that, you really channeled it to how can you take your interest in the arts and turn it into interest in math and turn it into interest for science. So I love that. And I'm sure NBCDI has this strengths-based approach. How do we leverage the strengths and resilience of Black children to propel our communities forward? And I just love you giving that example of, instead of a criticism, why won't you be like this? It was, how do you use what you bring to the table as a gifted, talented young Black male? How do you use that in order to bring positivity? Nakkia, I do want you to share more with us about your background, because you came from a tough background. What was it, just the way you saw the light bulb come on in that young man? What was it from mentors for you that also instilled in you that, I want to be an educator one day? For those who have young people in their lives that they're mentoring, what do you want them to know about the mentors that you had?
Well, a lot of the mentors I had when I was growing up, they were very tough on me. No one was soft on me, and they knew I didn't grow up with a lot of affection. My mother was very hard on me as well. So I was very much, I didn't know how to express or give affection. So when I danced and when I performed, that's when it was like letting a dog out of a cage. I became this light, this star that shine very bright. And when I do something, whether it be sports or dance, I had this drive in me that, well, I still have the drive. I want to do it, and I don't want to be the best at it. I want to be the best me. I don't want to try to be what someone else does or live up to the standards of what someone else is doing. I want to try to be the best that I can be, because I can only be me. No one else can be me. So why not be the best me? And my teachers would see that if I can't do something, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to try. I'm going to block everybody out, and I'm going to keep going until I get it. Rather it was, okay, well, can you try and tumble? Can you do this? Or we don't have enough boys to perform this. Can you put a zoot suit on and a hat and put your hair in a bun? I was, okay, let's go. So I think instilling that and being hard on me and not allowing me to give up on myself, that made me go even further. And having someone believe in me and push me, like my mother, she knew that from when I was a young child, whatever it is I wanted to do, I'm going to do that. I didn't want to do anything my brothers and sisters did. I was the black sheep. I tried everything they did, and I was MVP. I was player of the game. I was playing on my brother's baseball team, and I won MVP. So it was like, I wanted to do something. Let me do my own thing. I did gymnastics. I did the Junior Olympics at 9 years old and trained in level 5 and 6. And then I started dancing because my mom got sick. And of course, as a child, she wasn't going to let us know, like, she was hurt and sick. So I seen it, and I was able to witness, like, it's hard for her to financially do this. So let me try gymnastics. And I was able to get on a scholarship based on my drive. My coaches pushed me, and they seen that, okay, she has no fear. She will jump high off the beam and go for the flip. And I didn't teach her how to do it yet. So I think me not having the fear and always wanting to do better and not being comfortable where I am, because I knew I could do better and do more within myself, kept me going. If I wasn't great at this, let me try this and shift over here. I can't be great at everything, but I can be great at me.
Absolutely.
So them pushing me and keeping me going. Literally, when my mother passed, my first dance teacher reached out to me, and I knew, like, I have these skills, but I stopped doing everything that I was doing when my mother got sick. Her last like 6-7 months of living, I spent every minute by her side and did not leave her. So I detached myself from my life, and my life didn't start back or begin until, she passed away. And she was my dependent. I had nothing to fall back on, like no father, no family member. So literally, I took from the ground up, from the dirt, took myself and pushed and thought of what talents do I have? My mother spent a lot of time putting me in everything, giving me all these alleyways. I can do something with something I did. I knew I could dance. I love to dance, and I love to be around people. I was a people person. To sit down all day at a desk, it just wasn't me. So my dance teacher reached out to me. She was like my dance mom, the one that was the hardest on me. Her name is Cassie Crump. She, I have a job for you. I'm teaching at a dance school. We need some more teachers. Can you come in? I said, I come in right now. I came in some jeans and a t-shirt, and I had to dance that day, and I got hired that day. She's like, okay, well, fill out the paperwork. Just fill out the paperwork. I'm going to get you the job. I had no prior. I was sitting with my mom at home in a hospital, next to a hospital bed, 24/7. I was pale, skinny, just no life. And since that day, she took me like under her wing, was like, I got you. I'm gonna take care of you. You were one of my best students. She would book me on jobs, gigs, movies, anything I could to do to get me back inspired, because I was losing myself when my mom left. I didn't feel that burn I had. I felt like I lost everything. So she literally picked me up and was like, I got you. I'm gonna take care of you. And that somebody believing in me pushed me, kept me, you know, driving and going. And still to this day, I know I have to live and make my mom proud, let her know she didn't waste any of her time, you know, and be that light for my brothers and sisters so that they can see, like, you know, she's gone, but I can still, I'm gonna take care of us. And it's not the end, you know, and still be light for other kids who are losing their parents, who parents are gone. Like, we got to still go. Life still goes on, you know.
You actually answer my next question, because I'm thinking about Dr. Maya Angelou. And when you talked about a cage, and I think about, I know why the cage bird sings, and that she had this connection to freedom. She also had this connection to being herself, because she was an activist, she was a singer, she was a dancer. She moved to Egypt as a young woman and danced in Egypt. And so just that connection between your stories. And what I was going to ask you was about her poem, I come as one and I stand for 10,000, and how our community has supported you. But you really answered that in the opportunities, in people seeing something in you. And the research tells us for young children that they need two things that you talked about as an educator and the people who mentored you: warm demanders and high expectations. People who are going to ask a lot of you, but have warmth and love behind
Yes.
asking a lot of you. That, I mean, and we don't need research to tell us, but it's great to see that when people sit down and they research what's special about people who support Black children, that Black children really respond well to warm demanders and high expectations. That children really, the energy you talked about, they perceive
Yes.
how people see them. They can get from you whether or not you're looking at them through that deficits lens or that strengths lens. And so just all the people in your life and what you've given to young children and seeing them through a positive light is just so beautiful. So thank you. You answered two questions. I also, in looking at your official video for the song Justice, you start with an image, and I want to talk about just the importance of imagery. You start with a young Black boy to start the video out. What was behind that decision? And can you talk about just the importance of images in activism and in education?
By me growing up in Los Angeles, California, South Central, I see the chances that, you know, the young Black boys aren't given in the community and the resources that we don't have, you know, and it starts with the young Black boy. You know, we us women as well, but our Black men are our protectors at the beginning and at the end. And I feel like it's important to shine light on them, to let them know we too have a chance. We hear you, we're here to listen. And I stand for myself and for you as well. We have to make ways for ourselves and sometimes take our own lives into our own hands and allow ourselves to give ourselves that chance, and not allow people to tell us, oh, you're not going to be nothing. You'll never make it. You won't be nothing in life. You'll be a statistic. You won't, because you won't have to let yourself. You have control and you have power over your own life and your own destiny. Yeah. So to let that be shown first, and a young Black boy at that, it starts when they're young. The upbringing of a Black man determines his outcome, but it doesn't make that or stamp him of who he will be. He can change and he can evolve into be a man.
Yes. I just wanted to check the chat really quickly to see if any questions came in. If you have any questions that you want to put into the chat, we're going to keep the conversation going. And thank you so much, Nakkia, just for being so transparent and open with us. There's so many people who need to hear this message, so many educators who are joining us, so many parents who are joining us, who just need that encouragement to ensure that they're pulling their children in and supporting them just as who they are. So I want to talk about that for new parents who may be listening, or grandparents, for folks who are, in our community. You don't have to be a parent or a grandparent. That, the village really raises Black children and children from the African diaspora. I would love to know your thoughts on what advice you give to parents about incorporating music into their learning, incorporating music into their homes.
Simply me growing up, I was the person to bring the music into my family. And I played music very loud in the house. I sang all over the place. I was told to be quiet, turn that down. But the joy and the peace that it also brought on a Saturday cleaning up morning when I played some Sade or some old school, everybody's dancing. You might have a broom in your hand, but we smiling. We all having a good time. I have a student who was, he had behavioral problems at home, a lot of behavioral problems, and it transpired into the classroom. And his parents, I would see that they would sometimes, drop him off. He would be unhappy. He'd come straight to my classroom. And of course, I can't, as an educator, I'm working with side by side with the teachers as well to try to, he has to actually do his academic works, and I also have to teach my class, and he can't be by me at the same time. So during my some of my lunch and my break times, I would allow him to come in, and me being who I am, I seen that he wanted affection. He needed some type of love. He wanted some type of physical, he wanted some type of affection. So I would put music on and I would allow him to dance, and we would get a ball. And I turned around to turn the music up, and he swung the ball and threw it straight at my head and started laughing and dancing. So I said, okay, maybe he wants to play football or basketball. So I started throwing the ball back at him. And he's not like putting his arms out to catch the ball. He's like putting his arms up like this, blocking the ball because he wants it to hit him. Then next, he comes running towards me like he's gonna tackle me. And he just laughs and falls on the floor, and then he starts crying. I'm like, why are you crying? It's like, I don't know. I'm just so happy. I'm having so much fun. And so I turn on one of his favorite songs, and we're just dancing and dancing and dancing. And like, I'm in tears. I'm like, why am I crying? I guess I'm happy too. So every day he comes in the morning. He starts coming in the morning, maybe 15, 20 minutes early. So I come into work 15, 20 minutes early just to dance and to get him ready for the morning. Just him dancing and listening to the music alone got him ready for the morning. He was able to relax in class because he got all his energy out in the morning. He wasn't disrupting the teachers. He wasn't disrupting the students. And I seen how much it changed him. And just paying attention to him and allowing him to listen to what I had to say, and me allowing him to talk and literally listening to him and not treating him like a child and, oh, you don't know anything, you don't talk, don't listen. I allow kids to listen, to talk, and I listen. They say a lot. They observe, and they know a lot that's going on that sometimes we think they don't. They're like sponges. And at that age, they're absorbing everything that's around them. So they don't know how to channel the emotions yet. So they don't know how to react. So if he wants attention, he might act up because that's when you're talking to him, you're listening to him, you're focusing. So he might keep doing it because he wants the attention, but it might not be the right attention because he doesn't know any better. But it's any attention, so he's going to go for it. So just that alone, I see listening to them, letting them vent to you, letting them open it up to you, and actually allowing them to have voice and an opinion can narrow down some negative bad behavior, can loosen a child up and allow them to be open and express themselves to you when they aren't feeling bad. They can't feel like they can't talk to you, so they act up in a way, I see how it shapes a kid. I allow kids to write songs. You don't know it allowed me to know about what they think about, what they like, what bothers them. Like it's a way of expressing, it's a way of opening up and allowing that a song might be able to say something to you that you might not be able to verbally say out loud or conjure up in your own words. And this is how I feel. You can connect or you can let it go. You can release those emotions because you were able to deal with it. So I feel like it's very important.
It makes me think about, I remember asking an English teacher, like, hey, this student wrote this wonderful song in after school program. could he turn that in as an assignment or extra credit for English class so that, he's being recognized for the time that he's putting in, and that may spur him to be more, more engaged in English class. I love that too, just ensuring some educators would have responded, that child hitting you in the face with the ball, the response could have been very much criminalizing him, could have been
Yeah, I would.
very
Yeah.
much, right? It absolutely could have been the type of response that was, you need to go to the principal's office, that was assault. And yet you saw a young boy trying to connect with you in the way that he knew how to, and an
Yeah.
opportunity to teach instead of punishing. And that's all we try to get across. Cheryl's letting us know we have 5 minutes, and we do have a question from the audience in the Q&A. I actually am going
Okay.
to read it directly so that I get it right. Good morning, Nakkia. How important do you think lyrics play into fostering a positive message for our youth?
I think that is one of the most important things, putting positive lyrics in in most songs, if not all, because they listen to it. They are very, very, like I said, they're sponges, and they listen to everything that's going on, and they're inspired by it. They might not be some of the music that's out now. I mean, of course we don't all agree with it, but a lot of it transpires to them and allows them to see life in different ways, open up in different ways. So I feel like it's very important to have positive lyrics that are transparent, and also lyrics that they can understand and cope with. It
I
plays
love
a big part in how kids are and react, because some songs they come in and want to listen to, I'm like, I don't even know this song. How do you deal with all of this? So it's very important. It can trigger emotions. It can trigger the way someone feels when they walk in the morning. I'll always play happy music that make me feel good. So I know if it makes me feel good, this is gonna make you feel good.
And I also love that because it connects back to where we started the conversation when you were saying with Bob Marley that you look back at all he went through in his life, all that was going on in the world during that time, but all of his lyrics were positive. All of his lyrics were about uplift. And so we see that there are so many that whose shoulders we stand on, who have paved the way for bringing a positive message. And I just wonder about how much more we can steer young people to the music, to social media, to spaces that provide them with positive lyrics, positive images.
It
Of
tells a story, just like a story. You have a who, what, where, when, and why. We were able to translate how we told stories in a script to English class. When you go and read a book, I want you to go and tell me who, what, where, when, and why. And I promise you, you'll know everything about everything in the book. And then you'll always be able to write a script. You can now write a story. You'll now be able to understand a story and comprehend what you're reading better. So it helps. It's a benefit. Listening to music alone. I would let the kids listen to music and tell the teachers, let them listen to a song, or the song that we perform for the dance show, because we put on 3 shows. Let them listen to their dance song while they study for the test or while they do this problem. And I promise you, everyone will focus. They'll probably sit there, be singing or bouncing their head, but they will be focused. And it worked.
And I love that. Just as a closing point to our audience, because one of your core principles is that music is about storytelling. And I love that I want us all to be thinking about young children and how much they communicate to us through stories, and how we can use stories, again, throughout this week, throughout this year, as you're engaging with young children. Think about how you can engage with them around stories the way Nakkia has. Think about how you can be that warm demander the way she has, and give high expectations in a loving way to children. Thank you so much for all your messages. Any other parting advice?
Keep going, stay motivated, and don't take no for an answer. We all have one life to live, and live it to the fullest.
Absolutely. Thank you again so much. We are going to just transition into a session where we learn more about the importance of music and learning, and where we learn more about NBCDI. Thank you again for joining us, Nakkia.
Thank you for having me.